Hello everyone, my name is Florian Beuren. I'm the UK brand ambassador for Jägermeister, and welcome to our Jägermeister cold brew and Caravan Coffee event.
Hi everybody, really glad to have you here. I'm the head of coffee for Caravan. We're an 11-year-old roastery here in the North Islington neighborhood. We're currently coming to you from our training lab. It's a real pleasure to be here today with Florian, and we hope that you find this an exciting event.
Yeah, I think before we start introducing the brands and stuff, Jägermeister, for example, or alcohol in general, and coffee, they have so much in common, and I think this is what we want to cover today. And we'll do a few drinks together as well. So Jägermeister is founded in 1878 by Mr. Wilhelm Mast. Jägermeister as itself, the original, is created in 1934 and brought it to the market in 1935. Until the 1960s, we've been just sold in Germany and the border countries such as Switzerland, Austria and Italy. Mm-hmm. And from the 1960s until now, we're in over 120 countries around the world. There's a lot of history and heritage in that with us as a brand. Obviously in the UK we have this positive problem, I always say, which is called Jäger Bomb. Positive, obviously, it gives us a huge volume and stuff, but problem as well a little bit because people always think a little bit kind of like, oh, Jägermeister is cheap. Jägermeister, is kind of a hangovers and headaches and these kind of things, but really and truly, it's all natural ingredients. We have a team sourcing all around the world for botanicals. We will go closer and deeper into that later, speak about it a little bit, because obviously Andrea probably will talk a lot about her knowledge with coffee and stuff, with the regions as well, where they're going through and look at. And that's where we, like what we said, where the two worlds meet. Exactly, thank you for that, I missed that. But great for having you guys. If you have any questions, please, afterwards we will have a session where we can answer anything what you guys want to ask us. Over to you. Yeah,
so I couldn't be more excited to learn more about Jägermeister. Personally, I'm a big fan of spirits, in particular botanical, forward spirits such as Jägermeister, and I think the two beverages share a lot in common, and I think we'll cover some of that. Just to start with, Caravan as a company, we some people might know us from our restaurants. We have 6 restaurants across the London area, and we started roasting coffee the same day that we started serving food and drinks at our restaurants. So we started in 2010 in Exmouth Market with a small restaurant, which is still our flagship store. And at the time, the owners actually decided they wanted to serve coffee. It was part of their food heritage coming from New Zealand. And they set up a roastery in the basement of the restaurant, which I don't recommend. And they were roasting coffee just to serve at the cafe, which was a really unique idea at the time, to be roasting and serving the same coffee that you would make in-house. And turns out actually the coffee was great, the food was great, and since then they've opened up 5 more stores. We also have a cafe at the Savoy, and we're opening a cafe here in the front of our roastery this summer. So a little bit about the job that I'm doing at the moment. I'm the head of coffee, which sounds like a made up position, I know, but actually what I'm in charge of at the roastery is overseeing the sourcing of all of our coffees from around the world, as well as overseeing our roasting and quality department. So I'll be able to go into it more in a bit, but one of the things I love about the two products is just the time and care taken to source, really with a relationship focus, with a quality focus. And I would love to hear more about how that works for you.
Yes, so obviously something which, when you told me about your story of Caravan, Jägermeister is actually still family owned. We're in the 5th generation, so something we're very proud of. And for over 80 years it was just Jägermeister itself. So now over the last few years we opened up a little bit our portfolio, and the reason why we actually do that today, speaking about coffee and chocolate, is because obviously of this little beauty here, which is Jägermeister cold brew coffee. So we launched it last year, Obviously, with the situation, we are all in a global pandemic in the moment. In it, probably not a lot of people know about it yet. But yeah, cold brew coffee is very similar to Jägermeister. It has the base of Jägermeister, and we then added cacao from the Ivory Coast and coffee, cold brew coffee, which is from Colombia and Brazil. So as you probably will tell us a bit more about later, the region-wise, it is the reason why we chose Colombia and Brazil is because more the chocolatey, nutty flavors.
Right.
So yeah, but I think, you know, let's go a little bit into the recipe of Jägermeister to kind of like find the link to the cold brew, to explain it a little bit. And then yeah, I think afterwards we talk about your coffees a little bit, and then we start with the first drink.
That sounds great.
Together. So yeah, Jägermeister, obviously we have 56 botanicals, so we have a team sourcing all around the world for these botanicals. So our 5 main botanicals is star anise, cinnamon, cardamom, ginger and citrus peel. So already on these three of the botanicals, such as for example star anise and cardamom and cinnamon, is I think there's a lot of flavors which you get in coffee as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Obviously the good thing with us looking to like source around the world for these botanicals is because then we know how the botanicals are dried, the flavor profile of the botanicals, and what is very important as well for us is the essential oils. So for example, on star anise, we get that from the region of Lam Song, which is the so-called champagne of star anise. The reason why is if you would go to your local shop, for example, now and buy a pack of star anise, the star anise would have around 7% of essential oils. Ours has minimum 13% of essential oils.
Okay.
So that is something which is really, really important. And yeah, the botanicals get all dried in the region individually, obviously got shipped to our distillery, which is, by the way, in Germany, in Wolfenbüttel. It's around 2.5 hours by train from Berlin. And before we actually touch the botanicals, we have a laboratory in the distillery where the team checks the botanicals for any flavor profiles, like I said before, pesticides, mold, and so if everything is okay, thumb up. And I think it's very similar to coffee then as well, but you will correct me if I'm wrong. Around 15 minutes before we start the process of making Jägermeister, we grind the botanicals. And for us it's important as well that the botanicals are not too thin and not too thick grinded, because obviously if it's too thin, the grinding, then we lose a lot of the essential oils, the flavor.
Sure.
And if it's too thick, then it's probably as well a bit of a problem because of the extraction.
Sure. Very similar to coffee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, so for example, we have a lot of roots like I said before, ginger or galagal and stuff. And yeah, we need to create 4 different macerates. So our process of making Jägermeister is cold maceration. So it's a good thing because it's very mild. And it's a bad thing kind of because it takes a long time. Sure. So it takes around 4 to 6 weeks or 42 days. And we combine all the 4 macerates afterwards and put them in huge oak barrels. The reason why I say huge oak barrels is because we want to rest our spirit. We don't want to age it.
I see. Okay.
Yes, so our biggest barrel is 24,000 liters, so it's kind of like, I think, yeah.
Size of a house.
Yeah, so you can live in there. And all we need is kind of like in our warehouse is a good air flowing through. So the temperature is around 11 degrees, so not too cold, not too hot, because everything, you know, if you don't want to start an aging process, like I said. And yeah, we call that process harmonization process.
Okay.
In these barrels, the liquid rests, like I said, for around 9 to 12 months. And afterwards the ABV, I brought a little bit of that along. So this is our base macerate basically after 9 to 12 months, and you can see the ABV. I'm not sure if people see that now. It's on 45 ABV. So we add natural caramel and water to it to bring it down to 35.
I see.
And to kind of like stabilize and harmonize the liquid altogether.
Sure.
Yeah. So that the reason why I explained that in a kind of like quick session is because obviously with Jägermeister cold brew we use the base Jägermeister macerate, and then we blend in the cold brew and the coffee the chocolate to to add to Jägermeister, and then it ends up being Jägermeister cold brew.
And it increases the complexity. I mean,
yes.
both those ingredients have a huge array of flavors just intrinsically.
Yes.
So, you know, you're taking a product that has 56 ingredients, of which many of them are already very complex flavors,
yes.
and you're adding 2 more. I mean, yeah, it sounds delicious, and I'm really excited to try it. I think it's interesting to hear about just the similarities between the sourcing, and even things like the grinding process and the maceration, because it's often not quite understood just how coffee might get to your cup in the morning. But actually, coffee is an agricultural product, just like many things, and it grows on a tree. The tree takes 2 to 5 years to mature to even start producing fruit. And so when we think of coffee and how quickly we often consume it, and we just forget that actually it's a really precious and quite labor-intensive product that we're consuming. So for me, I try to continue, you know, honoring that, and the people that are growing it, and the people that are producing this amazing beverage, by really helping to, you know, share their stories with our customers, and to, you know, continue to evolve as a person in the coffee industry, and learn more. So part of this is a great learning experience for me, getting a chance to see other people's jobs and passions as well. So I think to start with coffee, and I brought a sample here just to show, coffee is roasted, we all know that, but it actually starts out looking a lot more like a seed than a bean. So it's green, actually. It's like a pale green color normally, and it's quite dense. You wouldn't be able to eat it. It would break your teeth, to be honest. You wouldn't want to try. Nope. And it comes in, and it's pretty stable. It's about 10 to 12% moisture, and when we source the coffee, we bring it into our warehouse, and very similar to you, we do a lot of checks. So we check the product before it arrives, and then as it arrives, we're checking for humidity, for quality, making sure that the coffee is fit for purpose before it ever goes into our production line. And then, you know, we select coffees based on their origins, but because coffee is a natural product that is growing, you know, on a tree, and it has so much that is intrinsic to the place that it's grown that influences its flavor, as you said. The example of Brazil and Colombia being more nutty and chocolatey. One of the things I love about coffee is just how diverse the flavors can really be. So I have some examples here. These are 2 espresso blends and 2 filter coffees. I've got the daily blend and our market blend. Both of these are our signature espresso blends. And then the Atsabe and the Gilcomar Spavier. This is 2 filter coffees. This one's from a little country called Timor-Leste, which is an island nation in the Pacific, Asian Pacific. Okay. And this is from a single producer in Brazil. So very different places, you know, opposite ends of the world. And that results in a cup that really is night and day different. This one is going to be very fruit forward, and, you know, you're going to have a lot of acids, some floral notes. And this is going to be very chocolatey, creamy, some nutty characteristics. And that's not anything that I'm doing. That's actually the farmers, and that's the places they're grown and how they're processed, and as we were talking about the processing for you, while I'm not personally processing the coffee all the way here at this facility, the farmers themselves are actually taking those cherries. They actually coffee grows in something that looks very much like a regular cherry. They're taking the cherries, they're macerating the fruit off of the cherry, and they're fermenting that for not as long as you. I think that sounds like a long time to wait, but it's usually between 12 and 48 hours to remove that, to break down that kind of fruit. And that process actually imparts a lot of flavor to the coffee itself. And then it is dried before it is sorted, shipped, and arrives here. So you can see already we're seeing a lot of similarities, yes. And I think that's something it's really exciting to see that. So yeah, would you talk to me more about how you start using that as an ingredient when you're yes. building a cocktail?
Yes, obviously, you know, a lot of people, probably everybody has drunk a Jägermeister or a Jägerbomb for sure. And a lot of people think, like, okay, the distinctive taste as a shot, you know, you can't mix with it. But really and truly, having, you know, the 56 botanicals in there, it's actually very much a linking flavor. So it adds so much more layers to the drink. So today, when let's do the first drink actually.
Sure.
The first drink we do is like a coffee colada. So pina colada, everybody knows, is very kind of like, you know, summer is coming, hopefully soon.
Right around the corner, any day now.
Around the corner. Obviously, the main ingredients, the star player in terms of spirit, we use instead of the rum, we use Jägermeister cold brew, because it says coffee, and then obviously you hopefully give me some of your finest coffee to mix with.
Yeah.
Thank you. So first, like I said, 40 ml, around 40 ml of Jägermeister cold brew. Don't be shy, don't worry. It will not overpower. It will actually nicely link the flavors together. It gives a lot of depth to the cocktail, and richness, because obviously, like we said before, there's a lot of other botanicals inside. So to make it a bit fruity, I use obviously same as in the pina colada, pineapple juice, around 50 ml again, double shot. A little bit of cream.
Okay.
I like that for the richness, and I think it works really well together with the coffee then as well. Around 25 ml, a shot. The same as anything, like if you have, I use now coconut milk, but if you have coconut cream or coconut
cream,
syrup, whatever.
Sure.
Syrup, we have to be a bit more careful because it's very sweet, while this one is a bit more drier, savory. Please give me a shot of coffee. That would be great, Andrea. Thank you.
Okay, so I used our market blend for this. I thought it would be a nice balance. It's an espresso blend, but it actually is, of our blends, it's got a little bit more, it's a little lighter roasted. Yeah. And so we have 2 coffees in this. It's a Colombia from the El Carmen Association, and then we have a coffee from a cooperative in Rwanda, a women's group who's grown this coffee. So it's a really nice balance of acids and sweetness, and I think it'll go really well for this. So while you pour that in, or should I pour it in? Yeah, go ahead. So you travel around the world then and look for coffees and meet all the farmers, or? Yeah, I mean, during normal years that would be correct. Yes. One of the mottos that we have here, one of the kind of goals of our organization is to really have no boundaries when it comes to exploring flavors that comes, the combination of food, alcohol, coffee, all those things. That really comes from our culinary background. Okay. And I think the founders, being people that traveled widely before they started Caravan, really embraced this idea that to really have the best, strongest relationship, you go to people where they are and you meet them and you share a drink or you share a cocktail, and then this is what keeps us going, right? So one of the places that I would love to be able to share with you is just we have a lot of relationships in Colombia, and I speak to our partners in Colombia every week. We share news about our families and about how the harvest is going, and it really feels like a relationship where we're able to be really open and honest with each other. Now, that isn't going to be the case for every place that we work. Just out of necessity, we are working with over a dozen different origins and multiple farms in each one throughout the year. But we strive to be able to have that type of relationship with the people we work, and we try to bring that into what we do here and share it with our customers and with people at our restaurants as well. Amazing. I mean, this is something as well. Let me shake that first now. Small pause. So I iced obviously the shaker beforehand. Yes. But this is something as well which makes the big difference to actually Jägermeister 80 years ago, or over 80 years ago when we started, and now, because obviously in the beginning, at the time, we used middlemen as well. You know? So now we know exactly where our botanicals come from, how they're treated and stuff, like I said before, and I think this makes a big difference in terms of like quality and flavor, obviously, as well, like you said. Yeah, absolutely. So let me ice it again, because obviously I shaked it now and I don't want to add too much dilution into it. Sure. So I always fill up to the brim, because with cocktails and with Jägermeister, actually in cold brew, because obviously we are a shot,
it's always important. Put it in the freezer, -18, ice cold.
Sure.
This is the way to drink it, and it's the same with cocktails. Should be ice cold. It'll be delicious, perfect.
Oof,
so what I do
great.
then now, obviously, some pineapple leaves, clutch. Then we add a bit of coconut on top.
Oof.
And what I want to do with it, to get a little bit of kind of like aroma and stuff, we roast it a little bit.
Wow.
So I'm gonna flame that a little bit, toast it a little bit, that's it. And you can have a flavor, and please have a try.
Oh,
So yeah,
this is great. Personal
Coffee COLADA
bartender.
with Jägermeister.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow, it's really well balanced in there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's really, really tasty.
Yeah, like I said, you know, it's obviously
Delicious.
is a perception, because obviously we are very proud, obviously, with Jäger Bomb and some, because as well there's not really a shot or a drink which they have straight away your product name in a cocktail with Jägermeister. So a lot of people with that obviously think like, okay, that's the only way to drink it and stuff. And obviously in Germany, in our home country and stuff, everybody knows it's ice cold, isn't digestive and stuff. But, and this is the beauty with it, it's so versatile. It's not only a shot, you can do so much more with it and stuff.
It's really delicious. You notice I'm just going to keep
yeah,
drinking
please.
Yeah, no, that's really, really nice. And also just a drink that I wouldn't have thought, you know, that would lend itself to Jägermeister, and it just works so well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, with your coffee as well, because
it's really, it's nice, it's subtle, it's got a bit of coffee flavor, but it doesn't overpower the drink. You're getting a lot of tropical fruit, you're getting a lot of the coconut sweetness, so yeah, it's great.
But again, you know, I mean, I'm very interested, because obviously since we've done cold brew and stuff and worked with coffee and cacao and stuff together, I realized actually how complex a coffee bean is, and how kind of like similar to, for example, when you go to wine industry or something, when you go to different regions, how much different flavors and stuff, what you get out of the coffee bean and stuff. Is this, you know? Yeah,
we use the wine analogy a lot in coffee, because it is a product people understand as having that, you know, that kind of terroir as an idea, this concept of provenance. And we really push that as something really important to us, because it helps to understand that there are people behind the product. There are people that actually, you know, spend their whole livelihoods growing and crafting the coffee that we drink. And not only that, it's just the exciting thing about trying new flavors and you know, mixing up your morning brew. And we, you know, as somebody that's worked in coffee for a long time, I've never gotten sick of trying new types of coffee, and I have found new ones. You know, we taste new coffees here all the time, so it's pretty amazing just how much is out there. And so I'm really excited to see how well also it can just, you know, those flavors can really mix up with a lot of things. Coffee has actually about 700 different what we call volatile aromas. So coffee as a product is one of the most complex flavors in one single product that you're going to find, and some of those aromas are going to be really reminiscent of the things that we just talked about. You're going to get some brown spices, you're going to get maybe some tropical fruit in some coffees, and so you really can pair them really well with other things. And I think same could be said for chocolate, just a really interesting product to work with. So it seems to go, you know, hand in hand with Jaeger and the idea of really bringing forward those types of diverse flavor experiences. Yeah,
and like I must say as well, over the years now, coffee obviously in bars as well. I mean, you guys have bars as well now.
Yes.
It's growing more and more, you know, in coffee cocktails. Obviously, a cocktail we do at the end, which is very kind of British, is an espresso martini. You know, we will do a twist on that as well. Classic. Actually, in the 80s, Mr. Dick Pratzel in Soho came up with that recipe, and it's kind of like, it blown up, you know. And
absolutely.
It's nice to see as well the twists and the craft, and I think craft is a good word when it comes to Jägermeister, the same as coffee, because obviously, you know, when I came in the early 2000s to London and stuff, there was kind of like not too much of like, you have the normal mainstream coffee shops, but now over the years, especially now in the last, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but 5 years or something like this, it blew up in everywhere.
It is. It's really become quite a popular. I think it's great, because actually for me, the more people that love good coffee, the better we are. You know, it's a product that, you know, I'm glad to see more and more people appreciating just the the amazing diversity that it can present. Yeah, I mean, we were one of the first, shall you say, specialty coffee roasteries in back in 2010 when we started, and since then, I mean, there's just a huge explosion. And London Coffee Fest is a really good example of this. And I was saying before we started this chat that just, you know, normally when you're able to be there in person, it's just the excitement and the energy and people just, you know, trying new things, and you can see that there's just such a passion for this industry, and I'm really excited because I think, you know, I've never found a day where I thought, you know, I'm can't believe I have to go to work today. You know, it's a really okay, maybe not never, but I am really happy to work with this amazing team here. So yeah, so I'm gonna just, you know, keep drinking this, but tell me more about the espresso martini.
Yeah, so obviously with our twist of an espresso martini, we will use again Jägermeister cold brew, because the good thing with Jägermeister cold brew is kind of like it's still a shot. It's still Jägermeister. It has not like Jägermeister original 35 ABV. It has 33 ABV, so it's a little bit lighter. Sure. But it has still enough boost to kind of like stand alone. Right. And what I like as well an espresso martini, or what I personally like in cocktails, is kind of like, you know, keep it simple. Yeah. You know, use kind of like, you know, if you put too much into it, you kind of like you get confused. Right. I kind of like it straightforward. So we will be doing a little twist, like I said, because everybody likes salted caramel these days as well. So I thought like we do a salted caramel espresso martini. Amazing. So we just use Jägermeister cold brew. We use a little bit of, like I said, salted caramel spread. Again, your coffee. Sure. Yeah. And a dash of vanilla.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Excellent.
So again, like before, this man, okay, let's do it this way. 40 ml of cold brew. I add a bar spoon, like I said, this salted caramel spread. Ooh. So there's all different versions. This one is very gooey. How do I get that off? Come on. Up my spoon. And that's why I have a second spoon here, because I knew this one happened. This is not going to go from my spoon without a fight. Then, like I said, a dash, or around 10 ml. Or let me use that bar spoon, 2 bar spoons. So the bar spoon is around 5 ml. Sure. And we just add 10 ml of vanilla. Okay. And if you would be so kind and give me around 35 ml of your coffee. Sure. Again.
Yeah, well, I'm going to let you do that. I think you're probably better at eyeballing.
Don't worry. Even if you do a little bit more, it's not really...
It's not going to be the end of the world, is it?
No. Thank you. Put that back. And then what I do, I like, because the coffee was a bit warm, that's actually really good, because the caramel, I can melt it down a little bit before I shake it. So then the texture, when we shake it, is easier, and it's kind of, it combines, links better together. So. Again, like I said, a lot of ice. I'm gonna put a little bit of ice in the glass to keep it colder.
Look at that. Oh yeah.
Love that. So what I do now is kind of like I fine strain, I double strain it, because especially now with the drink it's straight up and stuff, I don't like the ice bits. Sure. As personally, I don't like it when I have it and drink it, but as well, what it gives you otherwise, it gives you a lot of dilution, water is down when you have it inside, and you don't want that. You don't want to keep it as long as possible. You want to have it cold, but not too much dilution. So.
Oof, lovely.
Oh, beautiful glass as well. So let's do a little bit of garnish as well, because obviously it's all about the love with the drink. Oh no! You see, that's when it's...
It's a little too much love, I think.
That's when it comes to life. that happens, you know. And we take a little bit of a star anise to give it a nice garnish at the end. We could have taken even a coffee bean if you have some.
Ah, that's so true.
But yeah, here.
Oh, it's beautiful.
A little bit of espresso martini.
Lovely.
Salted caramel espresso martini with Jägermeister cold brew.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, guys,
So-
I'll see you later.
In this, you know, you will get probably a little bit the herbally, earthy notes from Jägermeister coming through, but I
Yeah.
think it works so well with the coffee.
Yeah, it really does.
know?
You get kind of the retronasal, the kind of aftertaste with the Jaeger.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
up front, you get lots of the caramel. And you get a big, punch of the coffee. Yeah, it's really great, really complex.
Yes, and that's the thing, you know, with like we obviously I brought along actually. I don't know if you see it. We done that in our distillery, our masters at work, our specialists. We done a Jägermeister
Wow.
tea from our botanicals, and then obviously, like I said, tea, coffee, these kind of things. It works brilliantly with Jägermeister together, and yeah, I just wanted to show
Yeah,
you this as well. If you have a smell,
Oh, it smells amazing.
yeah, it's very, very all natural, herbal, and really kind of like distinctive tastes and flavors of Jägermeister, you know. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Wow. Well, this has been amazing. I've just
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I mean,
I can't say enough about just how delicious these drinks are. They're
you.
so good, and I'm excited to just finish them off after we're done here. So
yes.
yeah, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about what's coming up for all of you, and I'm sure that people can find you on the website
Yep.
for more ideas and things like that.
Yes, we have on our Jägermeister UK website recipes. We have an e-shop as well and stuff. So
Amazing.
plenty of tips and tricks.
Yeah, and the same goes for us. We've got brew guides on our website. We've got stories about the producers that we work with, and you can always check out our Instagram for more information about things that we have coming up. We have a lot going on at London Coffee Fest, so I hope people get a chance to check out some of the rest of our features. And yeah, Florian, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, for us as a brand, it's a pleasure to be part of the coffee festival and team up with you guys and specialists. So yeah, thank you for everything.
I'll cheers to that.
Prost.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.